Dr. Elena Vasquez wiped the sweat from her forehead as she stared at the massive machine in front of her. The lunar research station hummed with activity around her. For 3 years, she and her team had worked on this project. They called it the Probability Cascade Engine. It was humanity's first real attempt at faster-than-light travel. Are all systems ready? Elena asked her team. The control room buzzed with nervous energy. 23 scientists and engineers had gathered to watch this moment. Drive core is stable, called out Marcus Chun, the chief engineer. His hands moved quickly over the control panels. Power levels are at 95% and climbing. Elena nodded. She looked through the thick glass window at the test ship. It was small, only 50 meters long. They had built it specifically for this test. The ship had no crew. Instead, it carried sensors and cameras that would record everything. Sarah, how are the long-range sensors? Elena asked. Dr. Sarah Kim looked up from her station. All clear, no ships within 1,000 kilometers. The test zone is empty. Elena took a deep breath. They had been planning this moment for months. The other space agencies had said it was impossible. The European Space Union called their drive dangerous nonsense. The Asian Stellar Collective said they were playing with forces beyond human understanding. But Elena and her team had kept working. They had discovered something that the textbook said could not exist. Their drive did not fold space like the theoretical models suggested. Instead, it tore holes in the fabric of reality itself. The alien races probably have much better technology than this, Elena said to her team. But this is what humans can build. This is our way. She had studied the few reports about alien technology that governments had shared. The other species in the galaxy seemed to use something called quantum fold drives. These drives bent space around a ship, creating a bubble that could move faster than light. It was elegant and clean. The human drive was different. It ripped open space-time like tearing paper. Then it rode the gravitational waves that came from the tear. It was violent and crude, but it worked. Beginning final countdown, Marcus announced. 10 minutes to jump. Elena watched the readings on her screen. The drive core was a sphere of exotic matter, created in the particle accelerators on Earth. It glowed with a strange purple light. Around it, massive electromagnets kept it stable. The theory is simple, Elena had explained to the funding committee. 2 years ago, we create a controlled tear in space-time. The ship falls through the tear, and we seal it behind us. The ship rides the gravitational waves to its destination. The committee had been horrified. Dr. Vasquez, you are talking about damaging the universe itself. Not damaging, Elena had replied. Humans have always used tools. Fire burns, but we learn to control it. Electricity kills, but we learn to harness it. This is the same thing. Now, as she watched the countdown, Elena wondered if she had been right. 5 minutes to jump, Marcus called out. The test ship began to glow. The drive core was spinning faster now, creating the exotic matter field needed for the jump. Elena could see the space around the ship starting to bend. It looked like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Are we sure about the destination coordinates? Elena asked. Triple-checked. Sarah replied. The ship will jump to the asteroid belt. Distance, 200 million kilometers. If everything works, it should arrive in 3 minutes. Elena knew that conventional rockets would take months to reach that distance. Even the fastest ion drives would need weeks. But their drive would do it in minutes. 2 minutes to jump. The ship was fully surrounded by the distortion field now. Elena could barely see its outline through the warping space. The sensors showed massive energy readings. The drive was pulling power from the fusion reactor at levels that would have been impossible just 50 years ago. 1 minute to jump? Elena felt her heart racing. 3 years of work. 3 years of people telling them it was impossible. 3 years of failed tests and explosions and rebuilding. It all came down to this. Moment 30 seconds. The ship vanished. For a moment, Elena thought something had gone wrong. Then she realized what had happened. The ship had not disappeared. It had been hidden by the massive distortion in space around it. 10 seconds. The distortion grew larger. Elena could see stars bending around the edges of the tier in space. It looked like looking through a funhouse mirror. 5 dot dot. 4 dot 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 3 dot 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 1. Jump! The space around the test ship exploded. Elena was thrown back in her chair. The lights flickered. Alarms started blaring throughout the station. The thick glass window cracked from the force of the shockwave. What happened? Elena shouted over the noise. Marcus was frantically checking his instruments. The ship jumped, but the energy release was 10 times higher than predicted. Is the ship okay? I don't know. We lost all contact when it jumped. Elena looked at the space where the ship had been. There was nothing there now except a slowly fading purple glow. The tier in space-time was closing, but she could still see the edges of it. Sarah, are you tracking the ship? Negative. All sensors are offline from the energy blast? Elena felt her stomach drop. Had they just killed their only test ship? Had 3 years of work been destroyed in a few seconds? Wait, Sarah called out. I'm getting something. Long-range sensors are coming back online? Elena held her breath. I have the ship. It's in the asteroid belt. Exactly where we programmed it to go. The control room erupted in cheers. Elena felt tears in her eyes. They had done it. Humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel. Are we receiving telemetry from the ship? Elena asked. Yes, but it's strange, Sarah replied. The ship is intact, but there's damage. The hull is scarred like something burned it, and some of the metal seems to be phased? Phased? Some parts of the ship are not completely solid. It's like they exist in 2 dimensions at once. Elena frowned. This was unexpected. Can the ship jump back? Unknown. The drive core is still functional, but it's showing some unusual readings. Elena made a decision. Bring it back. We need to see what happened. The return jump was just as violent as the first one. The ship appeared in a flash of purple light and gravitational waves. But it was definitely changed. When Elena and her team examined the ship later, they found something extraordinary. The hull was covered in strange scars that seemed to shift and move. Some parts of the ship were partially invisible, as if they existed in a different dimension. It's like the ship was partially torn apart and put back together, Marcus explained. But somehow it held together. Elena ran her hand along one of the scars. It felt warm and seemed to pulse with energy. The jump was successful, she said. But we need to understand what happened to the ship. Over the next few days, Elena and her team studied the test ship. They found that the scars were not damage, but changes to the ship's structure. The jump had partially merged the ship with the fabric of space-time itself. It's actually stronger now, Marcus reported. The phase sections are more resistant to damage than the normal hull. Elena was amazed. Their crude, violent drive had not just moved the ship faster than light, it had changed the ship itself, making it something new. We need to run more tests, Elena decided. But first, we need to report this to Earth Command. 3 days later, Elena stood in the communications center of Luna Research Station. She was about to make the call that would change human history. Earth Command, this is Dr. Elena Vasquez at Luna Research Station. I am pleased to report that humanity has achieved faster-than-light travel. The probability cascade engine is functional. The response came quickly. Dr. Vasquez, please confirm. Are you saying that the drive works? Confirmed. We have successfully transported a test ship to the asteroid belt and back. Total journey time was 6 minutes for a distance that would normally take months. Elena could hear excited voices in the background on Earth. She smiled. Humanity was about to join the galactic community, but Elena did not know that her success had been detected far beyond the solar system. She did not know that ancient sensors had recorded the massive space-time distortions. She did not know that, across the galaxy, alien civilizations were already discussing what to do about the humans who had just torn holes in reality itself. All Elena knew was that humanity had taken its first step into the larger universe, and she was proud to be part of that step. The probability cascade engine hummed quietly in the test ship, scarred and changed by its journey through the fabric of space-time. It had worked exactly as Elena had designed it to work. It had ripped open reality and used the universe's own structure as a highway. Elena looked out at the stars, through the cracked window of the control room. Somewhere out there, other intelligent species were traveling between those stars. Soon humans would join them. She had no idea that those same species were already planning to stop humanity before it could take another step. 3 star systems away from Earth, the meditation spheres of the ethereal collective shattered all at once. Master Illuminate Velthara had been deep in the sacred trance when the wave hit. She was floating in her crystal sphere, her consciousness spread across dimensions when reality itself screamed. The sphere cracked around her. Purple energy leaked through the cracks. Velthara fell to the floor, gasping. "What happened?" she whispered. Her voice shook with fear. All around the vast meditation temple, other spheres were breaking. Hundreds of ethereal monks fell from their trances. Many were crying. Some were bleeding from their sensitive neural receptors. "The harmony is broken," announced Keeper Zendal. His ancient voice carried across the temple. "Something has torn the fabric of existence itself." Velthara pulled herself to her feet. She could still feel the aftershocks in her mind. The ethereal collective had spent millions of years learning to feel the vibrations of spacetime. They could sense every quantum fold drive that activated anywhere in the galaxy, but this was different. This was violence. Where did it come from? Velthara asked. Sendal closed his eyes and reached out with his consciousness. The Outer Rim. The system the younger races call Soul, the humans. In the crystalline hegemony's home system, the living ships were screaming. Captain Chardonnel felt her ship's pain through their neural link. The ship was called Harmony of Growth. It was 3 kilometers long and had been alive for over 1,000 years. Chardonnel had bonded with it when she was young. She had never heard it make sounds like this. "What is wrong, old friend?" she asked, placing her hand on the wall. The wall was warm and pulsed like a heartbeat. The ship's voice filled her mind. It did not use words but emotions and images, fear, pain, confusion, and underneath it all, a sense of wrongness that made Chardonnel feel sick. "Show me what you felt," Chardonnel whispered. The ship shared its memory. A wave of distorted space-time had washed over the entire system. For a moment, reality had bent and twisted. The living ships could feel dimensions that should not exist. They had seen glimpses of spaces between spaces. "It came from the human system," the ship told her. "They have done something terrible," Chardonnel felt cold. The crystalline hegemony had been watching the humans for decades. They were a young race, barely out of their home system. Their technology was crude and loud, but they were determined in a way that made older races nervous. "Contact the Hegemony Council," Chardonnel ordered. "Tell them the humans have crossed a line." On the dead world of Kethmarai, ancient machines woke up for the first time in 10 million years. The precursors had built monitoring stations throughout the galaxy before they vanished. Most people had forgotten about them. The stations had been silent for so long that they were just part of the landscape, but when the human drive tore through spacetime, every precursor station activated. On Kethmarai, dust fell from the black metal towers as they hummed to life. Lights that had been dark for ages began to glow. Deep underground, quantum computers that had been sleeping started calculating. The station's AI had one job. It had been built to watch for signs of reality-breaking technology. For 10 million years, it had found nothing worth reporting. Now, suddenly, it had work to do. The AI analyzed the data. The space-time distortion matched patterns in its ancient memory banks. The precursors had seen this before. They had fought wars against races that used such technology. They had watched civilizations tear themselves apart with weapons that damaged the universe itself. The AI began transmitting. It sent signals to every major government in the galaxy. The message was simple: reality-breaking technology detected. Source: human space. Recommend immediate action. In the capital of the Vorthic Dominion, Ambassador Zethkar read the reports with growing alarm. The Vorthic were a military race. They had conquered dozens of systems through superior tactics and technology. Zethkar had fought in the border wars against the hegemony. He had seen weapons that could destroy planets, but he had never seen anything like this. The energy readings are impossible, his science advisor reported. The humans created a space-time distortion that was detected 3 star systems away. The energy release was equal to a small star exploding. Zethkar studied the data on his screens. The Vorthak had been monitoring human transmissions for years. They knew the humans were working on FTL technology. But the Vorthak had expected them to develop quantum fold drives like everyone else. They did not fold space, Zethkar realized. They tore it open. Yes, sir. And according to our physicists, that should be impossible. The energy required would destroy any ship that tried it. Zethkar felt a chill run down his armored spine. But it did not destroy their ship. No, sir. Our long-range sensors detected the ship successfully completing its jump. It even returned to its starting point. Zethkar stood up from his command throne. In his long military career, he had learned to recognize when something changed the balance of power. This was one of those moments. Contact the High Council immediately, he ordered. Tell them we have a new threat to deal with. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening. The Quantum Merchants Guild held an emergency meeting. For thousands of years, they had controlled FTL travel by licensing quantum fold technology. If the humans had developed a different kind of drive, it could destroy their monopoly. We must stop them, declared Guildmaster Prophetmer. If their technology spreads, we will lose everything. The hive minds of the insectoid clusters felt the distortion as a scream across their collective consciousness. Millions of drones cried out in unison as the wave of twisted spacetime hit their psychic networks. The harmony is broken, the queens declared. The humans have damaged the song of reality. Even the peaceful Botanical Federation was alarmed. Their planet-sized tree ships had felt the distortion as physical pain. Ancient root networks that connected across light years had been disrupted. The young shoots have grown thorns, the elder groves whispered. They must be pruned before they damage the garden. In the neutral space station of Haven's Rest, representatives from dozens of species gathered for an emergency session. Haven's Rest was where different races met to trade and share information. It had been neutral territory for thousands of years. The station's administrator was a being called Nexus 7. It was an artificial intelligence that had gained independence from its creator centuries ago. Nexus 7 had seen many crises over the years, but this felt different. The data is clear, Nexus 7 announced to the gathered representatives. The humans have successfully tested a space-time disruption. Drive, the implications are severe. A representative from the ethereal collective spoke first. Our meditation spheres were shattered by the psychic shock. Hundreds of our people were injured. The crystalline hegemony's delegate added, our living ships felt physical pain from the distortion. This technology is an attack on life itself. The Vorthic ambassador was more direct. The humans have developed a weapon. This drive could be used to destabilize star systems. It could tear holes in space that never close. Nexus 7 processed all the input. The AI had access to historical databases going back millions of years. It began searching for similar events. I have found relevant data, Nexus 7 announced. 17 previous civilizations developed space-time disruption technology. 12 of them destroyed themselves within a century. 3 became galactic threats that required combined military action to stop. 2 disappeared entirely, leaving only dead space where their systems used to be. The meeting room fell silent. What do you recommend? Asked the ethereal collective representative. Historical precedent suggests immediate intervention, Nexus 7 replied. The technology is too dangerous to allow uncontrolled development, the Vorthic ambassador leaned forward. Are you suggesting military action? I am suggesting that the Galactic Council invoke Emergency Protocol 7. The humans must be stopped before they develop this technology further. On the ringworld capital of the Galactic Council, emergency sessions were already beginning. The Galactic Council was ancient. It had been formed after the last Great War, when the precursors had disappeared and left the galaxy in chaos. For millions of years, the Council had maintained peace between hundreds of species. High Counselor Meridian was the current leader. She was from the Starweaver race, beings of pure energy who could live for millions of years. Meridian had seen the rise and fall of many civilizations. She knew the signs of a species that could become dangerous. "The humans," she said to her advisors. "I have been watching them for decades. They are unusual." "In what way, High Counselor?" asked her military advisor. "They do not follow the normal patterns. Most races develop slowly, carefully. They test each technology thoroughly before moving to the next step. Humans jump forward. Recklessly, they take risks that would terrify other species." Meridian turned to look at the data displays around her office. The screen showed the energy signature of the human drive test. The readings were unlike anything in the Council's databases. "They have torn holes in space-time," she continued. "But their ship survived. According to our analysis, it should have been destroyed instantly. The fact that it was not suggests they have solved problems that defeated previous civilizations." "Is that good or bad?" asked her science advisor. Meridian was quiet for a long moment. "I do not know, but I know we cannot ignore it." She activated the Council's emergency communication system. "This is High Counselor Meridian. I'm calling an emergency session of the High Council. All member species are required to attend. The subject is the human development of reality disruption. Technology," the message went out across the galaxy. On hundreds of worlds, leaders received the call. Emergency sessions were scheduled. Ancient protocols were activated. For the first time in thousands of years, the High Council was calling a meeting about a potential galactic threat. And the threat was a species that most people had barely heard of. A young race from a small system on the outer rim. A species that had achieved something that should have been impossible. The humans had torn holes in reality itself, and somehow they had survived. As the galaxy prepared for the emergency meeting, one thing was clear: the humans had changed everything. The universe would never be the same. In the dark spaces between stars, the ancient precursor monitoring stations continued their calculations. They had seen this before. They knew how it usually ended. But they also knew that the humans were different. And that difference might be the most dangerous thing of all. Dr. Elena Vasquez was sleeping when the message arrived. She had been working for 18 hours straight, analyzing data from the second test jump. The probability cascade engine was performing better than expected. Each jump taught them something. New about how their drive worked. The communication alarm woke her up. Elena rolled out of her small bed in the Lunar Research Station crew quarters and stumbled to the control room. The alarm meant an incoming transmission from Earth Command. "This is Dr. Vasquez," she said into the communicator. "Dr. Vasquez, this is Admiral Morrison at Earth Command. We have received a transmission from outside the solar system. It is addressed to humanity's leaders regarding your FTL project." Elena felt suddenly wide awake. A transmission from who? The Galactic Council. They claimed to represent hundreds of alien civilizations. Elena sat down hard. They had always known that other intelligent species existed. There had been hints and rumors for decades. But this was the first official contact. "What do they want?" Elena asked. "They want you to stop all FTL research immediately. And they want representatives from Earth to appear before their High Council within 10 solar cycles." Elena felt cold. 10 days? That's not much time. "Dr. Vasquez," the tone of their message was not friendly. "They are treating this as an emergency." Elena closed her eyes. She had known their drive was different from theoretical models. She had known it was violent and crude. But she had never thought it would cause problems with alien civilizations. "What are Earth Command's orders?" she asked. "You and Admiral Chun are to represent humanity at this meeting." A council ship will arrive at Earth in 3 days to transport you to their capital. 3 days later, Elena stood on the observation deck of Luna Research Station and watched the alien ship arrive. It was nothing like human spacecraft. The council ship was smooth and organic looking, like a living creature made of silver metal. It was over 1 kilometer long but moved through space without any visible engines. It seemed to flow rather than fly. "It's beautiful," Elena whispered. Admiral Chun stood beside her. He was a military man who had commanded Earth's first interstellar exploration missions. He looked worried. "It's also more advanced than anything we have," Chun said. "Look at those energy readings. That ship could destroy our entire fleet without trying." Elena nodded. The ship's power signature was enormous. Their quantum full drive created barely any disturbance in space. It was the opposite of humanity's violent engine. A small shuttle detached from the alien ship and approached Luna Research Station. Elena and Admiral Chun met it in the station's docking bay. The shuttle door opened with a soft hiss. A figure stepped out. Elena had seen pictures of aliens in movies and books, but nothing had prepared her for the real thing. The being was tall and thin, with gray skin that seemed to shimmer. It had 4 arms and large, dark eyes. When it spoke, its voice was like music. "I am Navigator Sylphane of the Galactic Council Transport Service. I am here to escort the human representatives to the capital." Elena stepped forward. "I am Dr. Elena Vasquez. This is Admiral Chun. We are ready to travel with you." Sylphane looked at them with those large, dark eyes. "Before we depart, I must warn you. The Council is very concerned about your FTL technology. Many species consider it a threat to galactic security." "We don't understand," Chun said. "We achieved faster-than-light travel. Isn't that something to celebrate?" "Not the way you achieved it," Sylphane replied. "Come, we will have time to discuss this during the journey." The council ship was amazing inside. The walls seemed to be made of living crystal that glowed with soft light. The corridors curved in impossible ways. Elena felt like she was walking through the inside of a seashell. Sylphane led them to a comfortable cabin. "The journey to the capital will take 6 days using our quantum fold drive. I suggest you use this time to learn about galactic history." Elena and Chun spent the first day exploring the ship. It was huge inside, much larger than it looked from outside. They met other crew members from different species. Each one stared at them with a mixture of curiosity and fear. On the second day, Sylphane began teaching them about the galaxy. "There are over 3,000 intelligent species in this galaxy," Sylphane explained. "Most have achieved interstellar travel. All use quantum fold drives." Elena studied the holographic display that showed different types of FTL drives. "They all work the same way?" "Yes, quantum fold technology bends space around a ship. The ship travels through folded space without affecting the normal structure of reality." "Our drive is different," Elena said. "Very different." "Your drive tears holes in space-time itself. This is extremely dangerous." Admiral Chun leaned forward. "How dangerous?" Sylphane was quiet for a moment. Then the alien activated another holographic display. It showed a star map with large dark areas. "These are dead zones," Sylphane said. "Areas where space-time was damaged by reality disruption drives. Nothing can exist in these zones. They are tears in the universe that never healed." Elena felt sick. "Did we create a dead zone?" "No, your tear was small and closed quickly. But if you continue developing this technology, you could create permanent damage. Have other species tried this type of drive?" Chun asked. "Yes, 17 species have developed space-time disruption technology. Most destroyed themselves. A few became threats that had to be stopped by military force." Elena stared at the dark zones on the map. "What happened to those species?" "They are extinct," Sylphane said simply. The rest of the journey was quieter. Elena and Chun studied the historical records that Sylphane shared with them. They learned about the Devourers, a race that had used reality-tearing drives to consume entire star systems. They read about the Void Walkers, who had opened permanent holes between dimensions and let hostile entities into normal space. Every species that developed this technology became dangerous, Elena said to Chun on their last night aboard the ship, or they destroyed themselves trying, Chun replied. I'm beginning to understand why the council is worried. On the 6th day, they arrived at the council capital. Elena pressed her face against the viewing port and gasped. The capital was a ringworld, a massive structure built around a star. The ring was so large that Elena could not see the curve of it. Billions of beings lived on the inner surface. How long did it take to build this? Elena asked. 3 million years, Sylphane replied. It was a joint project of the first council species. The council ship docked at a spaceport that was larger than any city on Earth. Elena and Chun followed Sylphane through corridors filled with beings from dozens of different species. Some walked on legs, some floated through the air, some moved on mechanical supports. So many different kinds of life, Elena whispered. And all of them are afraid of what humanity has done, Sylphane reminded her. They were taken to a hotel designed for visiting diplomats. Elena's room had a window that looked out over the vast inner surface of the ring world. She could see cities and forests and oceans stretching to the horizon. Tomorrow you will appear before the High Council, Sylphane told them. I suggest you prepare your defense carefully. The Council has the power to restrict your species' development. They can quarantine your entire system if they decide you are too dangerous. That night, Elena could not sleep. She stood at her window and watched the lights of alien cities. Somewhere in those cities, representatives from hundreds of species were preparing to judge humanity. She thought about her team back on Luna Research Station. They were probably still working on the drive, making improvements and running tests. They had no idea that their work had terrified an entire galaxy. Elena had always believed that science was about pushing boundaries and exploring the unknown. But now she wondered if some boundaries should not be crossed. The next morning, Elena and Chun were escorted to the council chambers. The building was enormous, a crystal pyramid that reached toward the artificial sky of the ringworld. Inside, the main chamber was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Elena had never seen so many different forms of life in one place. At the center of the chamber was a raised platform surrounded by thousands of seats. High Counselor Meridian floated above the platform, her energy form shifting between different colors. The humans Elena Vasquez and Chun Admiral will approach the center, Meridian announced. Her voice filled the chamber without any sound system. Elena and Chun walked to the platform. Elena felt thousands of eyes watching them. Some of the beings looked curious, others looked angry, many looked afraid. Humans, Meridian said. You stand before the High Council charged with developing technology that threatens galactic security. How do you answer this charge? Elena stepped forward. She had practiced this speech during the journey, but now her mouth felt dry. Honored Council, she began. Humanity has achieved faster than light travel. We did not know this would cause concern. We believe this was a positive step for our species. A voice called out from the audience. You tore holes in reality itself. Another voice added, your technology could destroy star systems. Meridian raised her hand for silence. Dr. Vasquez, are you aware of the historical precedent for your technology? Yes, Elena replied. We have learned that other species developed similar drives. We understand there were problems. Problems? The voice belonged to a crystalline being that sparkled as it spoke. The Devourers consumed 17 star systems before they were stopped. The Void Walkers opened doorways that let cosmic horrors into our dimension. You call these problems? Elena felt the weight of the galaxy's fear pressing down on her. We did not know, she said. We were just trying to reach the stars, Admiral Chun stepped forward. If our technology is so dangerous, why did our test succeed? Our ship was not destroyed. Our system was not damaged. The chamber fell silent. Elena could feel the tension in the air. Meridian's energy form pulsed brighter. That is precisely what concerns us, Admiral Chun. Every previous species that developed this technology either destroyed themselves immediately or became a galactic threat. The fact that you succeeded suggests you may be more dangerous than any previous civilization. Elena felt her heart sink. Their success, which had made her so proud, was being seen as proof that humanity was a threat. What does the Council want from us? Elena asked. You will cease all development of space-time disruption technology immediately, Meridian announced. Your research will be destroyed. Your scientists will be monitored. Your species will be restricted to your home system until you can prove you are not a threat. The chamber erupted in voices of agreement. Elena heard calls for even harsher restrictions. Some beings wanted Earth quarantined permanently, but Elena was not ready to give up. She thought about her team, about human curiosity and determination. She thought about all the things humanity might discover if they were allowed to continue. Honored. Council, Elena said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. What if I told you that we have already solved the problem that destroyed the other species? The chamber fell silent again. Even Meridian's energy form stopped shifting. Explain. Meridian commanded. Elena took a deep breath. It was time to reveal humanity's secret. The silence in the council chamber was complete. Elena could hear her own heartbeat as thousands of alien beings stared at her. High Counselor Meridian's energy form had stopped moving entirely. You claim to have solved a problem that has defeated civilizations for millions of years? Meridian's voice carried disbelief. Explain yourself, human. Elena felt Admiral Ching's hand on her shoulder, giving her support. She looked around the vast chamber at all the different species. Some looked curious now, others still looked angry. But they were all listening. The problem with space-time disruption drives has always been the same, Elena began. The tiers in reality become unstable. They grow larger and larger until they cannot be controlled. Previous civilizations could not stop this process once it began. A voice from the audience interrupted her. That is why the technology is forbidden, Elena nodded. Yes, but we found a way to stabilize the tiers. Impossible, called out another voice. The physics do not allow for stabilization. Elena smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. That is what everyone told us. But humans do not always listen when someone says something is impossible. High Counselor Meridian leaned forward. Show us your proof. Elena activated the portable holographic projector that Admiral Chun carried. The device created a three-dimensional display above their heads. It showed the mathematical equations that Elena's team had developed. The key is quantum resonance feedback, Elena explained. When we tear open spacetime, we immediately create a counter-resonance that forces the tier to close. It is like pushing and pulling at the same time? The chamber buzzed with conversation as alien scientists studied the equations. Elena could hear excited voices in languages she did not understand. And the mathematics appear sound, announced a being with multiple tentacles covered in calculation devices. But theory and practice are different things. We have practical proof, Admiral Chun said. He activated another display. This is sensor data from our test jumps. Each tier closed completely within seconds of opening. Elena watched as the data scrolled across the holographic display. Our first test ship was damaged because we had not perfected the process yet. But our recent tests show complete stabilization. A crystalline being rose from its seat. Even if your stabilization works, the energy signature of your drive is detectable across multiple star systems. It is loud and violent. It disrupts other technologies. Yes, Elena admitted. Our drive is not elegant like your quantum fold systems. But it works, and it is safe. Safe? The voice belonged to an ethereal collective representative. Your test shattered our meditation spheres and injured hundreds of our people. Elena felt terrible about that. We did not know our drive would affect other species. We are sorry for the harm we caused. But now that we know, we can adjust our testing procedures. High Counselor Meridian studied the data displays for several minutes. The chamber remained quiet while she processed the information. Dr. Vasquez, Meridian finally said, your equations suggest a level of mathematical sophistication that should have taken your species centuries to develop. How did you achieve this breakthrough so quickly? Elena thought about how to explain human nature to these beings. Humans are stubborn. When we are told something cannot be done, we try harder to do it. We do not accept failure easily. But the mathematical complexity, began a scientist from the audience. We used brute force computational methods, Elena replied. We tested thousands of different resonance patterns. We ran simulations for months. Most approaches failed, but we kept trying until we found one that worked. Admiral Chun added, Dr. Vasquez's team worked 18 hours a day for 3 years. They tested every possible variation they could think of. Crude but effective, murmured someone in the audience. High Counselor Meridian turned to address the entire chamber. We will now review the historical precedent for this situation. The chamber's main display activated, showing ancient records. Elena watched as images of different civilizations appeared. The Devourers, Meridian announced. They developed space-time disruption drives 8 million years ago. Within 50 years, they had consumed their entire home system. They used their drives as weapons, tearing holes in space to destroy enemy fleets. The display showed Dead Star systems with permanent tiers in space. The Devourers' drives were unstable from the beginning, Meridian continued. They knew the tiers would grow larger, but they did not care. They used the technology anyway. Elena studied the Devourer data. Their drive equations were completely different from the human approach. They had never even tried to stabilize the tiers. The Void Walkers, Meridian said as new images appeared. They opened doorways between dimensions. Hostile entities came through these doorways and infected normal space with chaotic energy. Elena saw recordings of space battles against creatures that seemed to be made of living darkness. The Void Walkers had deliberately opened permanent portals. Again, they made no attempt at stabilization, Elena observed. The Shadow Fleet, Meridian continued. They used reality tiers as hiding places. Their ships could disappear into damaged spacetime and emerge anywhere in the galaxy. More images showed fleets of dark ships that seemed to phase in and out of existence. 17 civilizations in total, Meridian concluded. 12 destroyed themselves. 3 became galactic threats. 2 disappeared completely. None of them developed stabilization technology. Elena felt the weight of that history. But we are different. We found a solution, perhaps, Meridian said. But the Galactic Council's judgment AI has calculated the risks. A new voice filled the chamber. It was mechanical and precise. Probability analysis complete. Based on historical data, there is a 97.3% chance that humanity will follow the same destructive path as previous civilizations. Elena felt her heart sink. How can you calculate odds for something that has never happened before? The pattern is consistent across all 17 cases, the AI replied. Civilizations that develop space-time disruption technology become increasingly aggressive and reckless. The power to damage reality itself corrupts them. Admiral Chun stepped forward. You are judging us based on what other species did. That is not fair. It is necessary, Meridian replied. The safety of the galaxy requires us to act on probable outcomes, not wishful thinking. Elena looked around the chamber. She could see that most of the representatives had already made up their minds. They were afraid, and fear was making them reject anything humanity had to say. What would you have us do? Elena asked. Destroy our research? Pretend we never achieved FTL travel? Yes, said a voice from the audience. Exactly that. The Council's decision is preliminary but clear, Meridian announced. Humanity will cease all development of space-time disruption technology. Your research data will be destroyed under Council supervision. Your scientists will be monitored. To ensure compliance, Elena felt desperate. But we could share our stabilization techniques with other species. We could help you develop safer versions of this technology. Absolutely not, declared a Vorthic representative. We will not allow this dangerous technology to spread. Your species will be restricted to your home system, Meridian continued. Regular inspections will ensure you are not secretly continuing. Your research? Elena could not believe what she was hearing. You are punishing us for succeeding where others failed. We are protecting the galaxy, Meridian replied coldly. But then something unexpected happened. A small voice spoke from the back of the chamber. Wait, everyone turned to see who had spoken. It was an ancient being that Elena had not noticed before. The creature was small and covered in what looked like living moss. It moved slowly toward the center of the chamber. I am Keeper Mostel. Of the Archive Collective, the being said. I have studied every civilization that developed reality disruption technology. I have analyzed their psychology, their motivation, their methods. High Counselor Meridian looked annoyed. Keeper Mostel, the Council has already reached its decision. The Council has made an error, Mostel replied. These humans are different from the previous civilizations. Elena felt a spark of hope. How are we different? Mostel turned to look at her with eyes that seemed older than stars. Every previous civilization developed reality disruption technology as a weapon. The Devourers wanted to consume their enemies. The Voidwalkers wanted to summon alien powers. The Shadow Fleet wanted to strike without warning. Elena nodded. We developed it for exploration. We just wanted to reach the stars. More than that, Mostel continued. Every previous civilization ignored the stabilization problem. They knew their technology was dangerous, but they used it anyway. You spent 3 years solving the stabilization problem before you used the technology at all. Admiral Chun spoke. Safety was always our primary concern. And most importantly, Mostel said, you are the first civilization to voluntarily reveal your methods to the galactic community. Previous civilizations kept their technology secret until it was too late. Elena realized what the old being was saying. We came here openly, we shared our data willingly. You could have hidden your breakthrough, Mostel agreed. You could have developed the technology in secret and surprised the galaxy with a fleet of reality disruption ships. Instead, you answered the Council's summons and offered to share your knowledge. The chamber was buzzing with conversation now. Elena could see that some representatives were reconsidering their positions. High Counselor Meridian looked thoughtful. Keeper Mostel raises valid points, but the risk remains enormous. Of course it does, Mostel replied. But so does the opportunity. If the humans have truly solved the stabilization problem, they may have unlocked technologies that the galaxy has forbidden itself to explore for millions of years. Elena felt excitement building. What kind of technologies? Mostel smiled, showing teeth like small pebbles. Reality disruption drives are just the beginning. With proper stabilization, you could manipulate gravity, travel between dimensions, even repair damaged spacetime. The implications were staggering. Elena could see the same realization dawning on many of the Council representatives. But the risks ... bull quotes began someone in the audience. Can be managed, Mostel interrupted. If the humans are willing to work with the Council instead of being punished by it. High Counselor Meridian was quiet for a long time. Her energy form shifted through different colors as she considered this new perspective. Dr. Vasquez, Meridian finally said. Would humanity be willing to participate in a joint research program? Your stabilization techniques combined with our safety protocols and oversight? Elena felt her heart racing. This was more than she had dared to hope for. Yes, she said immediately. Absolutely yes. The decision is not yours alone to make, Admiral Chun reminded her quietly. Elena looked at him. No, but I know my species. Humans would rather work together than be locked away in isolation, High Counselor Meridian addressed the chamber. The Council will recess to consider this new proposal. We will reconvene in one standard day. As the session ended and beings began filing out of the chamber, Elena felt a mixture of hope and fear. They had avoided immediate condemnation, but the final decision was still to come. Keeper Mostel approached them as they prepared to leave. You have given the galaxy much to think about, the ancient being said. I hope you realize the magnitude of what you have accomplished. We just wanted to travel to other stars, Elena replied. And in trying to do that, Mostel said with A smile. You may have changed the future of the entire galaxy. Elena barely slept that night. She stood at the window of her guest quarters, looking out at the vast cities of the Ringworld. Somewhere in those cities, representatives from hundreds of species were deciding humanity's fate. Admiral Chun found her there in the morning. Any word from the council? Nothing yet, Elena replied. Keeper Mostel said the debates have been going on all night. Chun joined her at the window. What do you think they will decide? Elena was quiet for a moment. I think we surprised them. They expected us to be like the other civilizations they have dealt with, aggressive, secretive, dangerous. But we are dangerous, Chun pointed out. Our drive can tear holes in space-time. Yes, but we are dangerous in a different way. We are dangerous because we refuse to accept that problems cannot be solved. A soft chime announced an incoming message. The wall screen activated to show Navigator Sylphane. Dr. Vasquez, Admiral Chun, the High Council is ready to reconvene. Please prepare for transport to the chamber. An hour later, Elena and Chun stood once again in the center of the vast council chamber. The atmosphere felt different now. The representatives seemed less hostile, more curious. Many were watching Elena with expressions she could not read. High Counselor Meridian took her position above the platform. Her energy form was a steady blue color, which Elena had learned meant she was calm and focused. The High Council has reached a decision, Meridian announced. Her voice carried clearly through the chamber. But first, we must share what we have learned during our deliberations. The main display activated, showing historical data. Elena recognized some of it from the previous day's session. For millions of years, the Galactic Council has forbidden certain technologies, Meridian continued. We called them forbidden sciences because every civilization that developed them became a threat to galactic stability. Elena saw a list of banned technologies appear on the display. Reality disruption drives were just one item on a very long list. Gravity manipulation, dimensional travel, time dilation weapons, consciousness transfer. We banned these technologies because we believed they were too dangerous to use safely. Keeper Mostel rose from his seat in the audience. But what if we were wrong? What if these technologies are only dangerous when developed by civilizations that do not prioritize safety? Meridian nodded. That is exactly what we have been discussing. The humans have shown us something we did not expect to see. They have shown us that dangerous technology can be made safe through careful engineering and ethical application. Elena felt a surge of hope, but she tried not to show it. The decision had not been announced yet. Dr. Vasquez, Meridian said, your stabilization equations have been reviewed by the finest scientists in the galaxy. The consensus is that your approach is not only functional, but revolutionary. A crystalline being stood up. The humans have solved problems that our civilizations have been afraid to even attempt. Their mathematical framework could be applied to other forbidden technologies? Elena blinked in surprise. Other technologies? The humans think differently than we do, explained another representative. They approach problems from angles that more advanced civilizations would never consider. Admiral Chun leaned toward Elena. I think they are saying we are too primitive to know what is supposed to be impossible, Meridian heard him. That is exactly what we are saying, Admiral Chun, and it appears to be humanity's greatest strength. The chamber buzzed with conversation. Elena could hear excitement in many of the voices. However, Meridian continued, and the chamber fell silent again. The Council cannot simply ignore millions of years of precedent. The risks are still enormous. Elena felt her heart sink. Were they going to be restricted after all? Therefore, Meridian said, the High Council proposes a new approach. Humanity will be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Council as a Tier 2 civilization, Elena gasped. She had not expected this at all. Tier 2? Admiral Chun asked. What does that mean? Most civilizations achieve council membership. As Tier 3, after centuries of observation and gradual integration, Meridian explained. Tier 2 membership is reserved for civilizations that have made extraordinary contributions to galactic knowledge. Elena could hardly believe what she was hearing. You are inviting us to join the galactic community? With conditions, Meridian replied. Humanity will share its stabilization technology with the Council's research divisions. In return, you will have access to technologies and knowledge that are normally restricted to advanced civilizations. Keeper Mostel stood up again. The humans will also lead a new department within the Council. The Department of Impossible Technologies. Elena stared at him. What would this department do? Explore the technologies we have forbidden ourselves to study, Mostel replied. With human creativity and council oversight, we may finally be able to safely develop the tools we have feared for millions of years. The implications were staggering. Elena thought about all the advances that could be made, all the problems that could be solved. There is one more condition, Meridian said. Humanity must prove that it can be trusted with these technologies. You will work under Council supervision for a probationary period of 50 Earth years. Elena quickly calculated. That is less than one human lifetime. If humanity proves itself during this period, Meridian continued, you will be granted full Tier 2 status and greater autonomy. Admiral Chun stepped forward. What happens if we refuse this offer? The chamber became very quiet. Elena could feel the tension in the air. Then humanity will be restricted to its home system indefinitely, Meridian replied. Your FTL research will be destroyed and your species will be monitored to ensure compliance. Elena looked around the chamber at all the alien faces watching her. Some looked hopeful, others still looked afraid. A few looked calculating, as if they were trying to figure out how to benefit from humanity's discoveries. I cannot make this decision for my entire species, Elena said. I would need to consult with Earth's governments. Of course, Meridian replied. You will return to Earth to present this offer to your leaders. The Council will await your response. Elena felt relief wash over her. At least they would have a choice. How long do we have to decide? Admiral Chun asked. 1 Earth year, Meridian replied. After that, the offer will be withdrawn and the original restrictions will be imposed. As the session ended, Elena found herself surrounded by alien representatives. Many wanted to congratulate her. Others wanted to ask questions about human technology. A being that looked like a walking tree approached her. I am Speaker Roothart of the Botanical Federation. We are very interested in your stabilization techniques. Our planet ships could benefit greatly from safer reality manipulation technology. Elena smiled. I would be happy to share our research with you. An ethereal being floated over to them. The collective is eager to work with humans. Your mathematical approaches could help us develop new forms of consciousness transfer. Elena was amazed by the enthusiasm. Just yesterday, these beings had been afraid of humanity. Now they were excited about working together. Navigator Sylthane appeared at Elena's side. Dr. Vasquez, your transport back to Earth is ready when you are. Elena looked around the chamber one more time. I think we are ready to go home. The journey back to Earth felt different than the trip to the Council capital. Elena and Admiral Chun spent most of their time planning how to present the Council's offer to Earth's leaders. Do you think they will accept? Chun asked. Elena considered the question. I think so. The alternative is isolation and the destruction of our research. No government will want that. But 50 years of supervision is better than permanent restriction, Elena finished. Besides, we will learn so much from working with the Council. Our technology will advance by centuries. When they arrived back at Earth, Elena was surprised to find that news of their mission had already spread. The governments of Earth had been tracking their journey through long-range communications with the Council ship. Elena was immediately called to testify before a joint session of Earth's United Space Council. She explained the Council's offer in detail, answering hundreds of questions from representatives of every nation. The aliens want to make us junior partners in their galactic government? Asked the representative from the European Space Union. Not junior partners, Elena corrected. Tier 2 members. That is actually a very high status for a species as young as ours. But they will be watching everything we do, pointed out the representative from the African Space Consortium. For 50 years, Elena agreed. But they will also be sharing their knowledge with us. We will learn about technologies that are thousands of years ahead of anything we have now. The debates went on for weeks. Some governments wanted to reject the offer and develop human technology independently. Others wanted to accept immediately and gain access to galactic knowledge. Elena spent those weeks working with her team at Luna Research Station. They continued improving the probability cascade engine, preparing for the day when they might be able to share their work with alien scientists. "Are you nervous about working with aliens?" Marcus Chen asked her one day. Elena thought about it. "No, I'm excited. Think about what we could accomplish together. They have millions of years of scientific knowledge. We have new ways of thinking about old problems. But what if they change us? What if working with them makes us less human?" Elena smiled. "Marcus, we are explorers, we always have been. Exploring the galaxy with alien partners is just the next step in human evolution." 3 months after Elena's return, the United Space Council reached its decision. By a vote of 847 to 23, Earth accepted the Galactic Council's offer. 1 year later, Elena stood in the brand-new Department of Impossible Technologies headquarters on the Council Ringworld. The building was a marvel of hybrid human-alien architecture, human practicality combined with alien elegance. Her staff included scientists from dozens of species. They were working on projects that would have been unthinkable just 2 years earlier: gravity-based propulsion systems, dimensional storage devices, temporal communication networks. Dr. Vasquez called Dr. Zethanol, her Vorthic deputy director. "The preliminary tests on the gravity manipulation drive are complete." Elena hurried over to look at the data. They had taken human stabilization techniques and applied them to precursor gravity technology. The results were promising. "No space-time distortions?" Elena asked. "None at all. The field is perfectly stable." Elena smiled. "Then we are ready for full-scale testing." As she worked, Elena reflected on how much had changed. The galaxy that had once feared humanity now looked to them for solutions to problems that had seemed impossible. Human Council hybrid ships were exploring regions of space that had been unreachable before. The first dimensional research station was under construction. Plans were being made for expeditions to parallel universes. "Dr. Vasquez," another voice called. It was Dr. Sarah Kim, who had come from Earth to join the department. "We have received a request from the Crystalline Hegemony. They want to know if our stabilization techniques can be applied to their bioship technology." Elena nodded. "Then, yes, schedule a consultation for next week." As the day ended, Elena stood at the window of her office, looking out at the stars. Somewhere among those stars, human ships were traveling using drives that combined the best of human and alien technology. She thought about her old dream of reaching the stars. Humanity had not only reached them, but had become partners with the civilizations that lived among them. The universe was vast and full of wonders, and humanity was finally ready to explore it all. In the distance, Elena could see construction ships building the first human-designed space station. It would serve as a research facility for studying the intersection of human creativity and alien knowledge. The galaxy was changing. Ancient barriers were falling. Technologies that had been forbidden for millions of years were becoming reality. And it had all started with a crude, violent FTL drive that tore holes in space-time itself. Elena smiled. Sometimes the best solutions came from refusing to accept that something was impossible. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. And the galaxy was eager to see what other impossible things humans would make possible.